If you watched my last video, I talked a little bit about what it takes to be good in real estate photography. Now, if you didn't see that, I'm going to put a link below so you can actually see that video. It's kind of an important one. It's kind of an eye-opener. So watch that video. But today, I want to talk about some of the things that people think is necessary to have in photography to be good in photography. All right. So let's address the one thing I hear all the time. You need a good camera to be good in photography. What do you think about that? Do you think that's true? Sometimes that is true. Most often that's not true. Okay. If you're good in photography and you have a basic camera, can you get a good photograph? And the answer is yes, you can get a good photograph. Even the worst cameras today, I'm talking about cameras that have just recently come out in the marketplace. Let's say entry-level $400 cameras with a basic kit lens. Can you take a good professional photo with it? And I would say, yes, you can. Yes, you absolutely can. I've done this in the past where I've taken the basic entry-level cameras, taken shots with it, posted it on my blog, and people will say, what a great looking photo, until they find out it was taken with the most entry-level camera. It can be done, all right? So do you need a good camera? Yeah, sometimes you do. If you're trying to shoot sports and you're trying to rapid fire 10 frames, 15 frames per second, and you have a basic entry-level camera, no, that's not going to get the results, all right? Many times when you have the ability to buy a more expensive camera, it's not that your image quality is going to improve. Sometimes it does. But many times it's just the fact that you can get the photo, whereas the other person's still trying to struggle to get the photo. I mean, if you're trying to shoot 15 frames a second and your camera only fires off 6 frames a second, you can't get the shot. And that's what you're getting with the more expensive camera, okay? So it's not always the image quality you're going to get that's going to be an improvement. Sometimes it's the sheer fact that you can actually acquire that picture versus somebody else not being able to, all right? So that's the first thing. Another thing people think is that if they buy an expensive camera, they can skimp out on a basic lens. No, you can't do that either, because the resolution of that image, the sharpness level of that image is going to come from that lens. If you put a poor quality lens in front of an expensive camera, the poor quality lens is not going to be able to resolve that image to the point where you have that sharpness. And when I'm talking about sharpness, you know, you've seen photos that are in focus, but it just doesn't look sharp. You know what I'm talking about? You know, the little flyaway hair on a person's head, the little details on the person's face. You don't see that. Why? It's all blurred together. Why is that? Because your lens isn't resolving it. Spend the money on a good lens, okay? How about memory cards? Is it important to have a very fast memory card? Should I spend the money on these really high-speed cards? Yes and no. If you're shooting video, yes, spend the money on the better card, because it's a lot of data that's being recorded. If you're shooting very quickly, you're shooting that 15 frames per second, yes, spend the money on the better card. But if you're shooting portraits and you're only shooting one shot every 10 seconds, does it pay off to have that fast card? No, it doesn't. You can have a basic card for that, and that would be perfectly fine, okay? Should I buy a high capacity card? Let me buy a 128 gigabyte card. What for? For basic shots? I don't think you need that. But if you're shooting video, yeah, you might need that. Or if you're shooting all day long, you don't want to switch out that card, yeah, you might need that. But let me talk about that one. I don't think you should be buying one card that's 128 gigabytes for an all-day shoot. I think you're better off to swap the cards. Here's why. If that card goes down, if that card basically fails, that whole day's worth of shooting is gone. Or you buy multiple cards that are maybe 16 gigabytes each, and when you fill it up, you swap it out for another card. If something happens to the card, you've lost the equivalent of the photography on one card over maybe 5 or 6 cards for that day. I'd rather lose part of the day than the entire day if that card fails. So in my mind, do you need high capacity cards? And the answer would be no, I don't think so. Now, video is the one area that I think you might need it, because if you're running a video for 30 minutes or whatever length of time you're recording, the data that's generated on a video is so great, it's gonna need that high capacity card, but not for casual shooting, not for all long day type shooting. Split it up if you have to. It's gonna cost you less money on the long run, and it's a safety factor. Here's another thing, since we're talking about cards. Do you need 2 card slots? Yes and no. All right. In the beginning days of photography, professional photographers didn't have 2 card slots. They made do. It was fine. But the fact now that we have a 2 card slot option for backup in case one card fails, do you need it professionally? I would have to say yes. Just because we were able to do it in the past, that doesn't mean we should continue doing that if we know that the technology is actually there to give us 2 card slots for a backup for one. Why would you not want to put that in there? Yes, for professionals, you better get 2 card slots. It's a safety. It's a safety factor, okay? What else? Do you need the best camera bag? Yes and no, all right? No, you don't have to carry equipment in fancy camera bags. But yes, it would be nice if you did. Camera bags are very well padded. It's protected. If you drop something, it's going to protect it better. So in that case, yes and no. What else? Do you need to have Photoshop and Lightroom? Yes and no, right? If you think you're that good of a photographer that right out of your camera everything comes out perfect, then the answer is no, you don't need it. But I'm going to tell you, most often we need it. All right. Does that mean that we're doing gross changes? No, we're doing subtle changes. And that subtle change is enough to make the difference. And if you don't have the software to do it, then you're missing out. So every photographer should have some type of computer software to help. Does it need to be Photoshop? Does it need to be Lightroom? No. Pick some software that you feel comfortable with. Use that. It's perfectly fine. But so why do we use Photoshop and Lightroom? It's kind of an industry standard. Many of the pros tend to use it, but it's not the only software out there. I personally use it because it's something I've used my entire career, essentially, when I'm editing photos or doing something special to my photos. But you don't need to do that. You can find some other brand that's cheaper if you needed to. So my whole point is, not everything you do requires the best of equipment, but you do need to have some equipment, right? Hey, if you like these videos, go ahead and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button too. And let me talk real quickly about the subscription. And I've said this in the last couple videos too. Subscribing to a channel does not cost anything. I just want to make that clear. But it helps the YouTube creator know if he's doing a good job. And also down the road, it does help him in terms of advertisers. If advertisers are interested in his channel, they're looking at how many people subscribe, okay? It doesn't cost anything. You just need to have a YouTube account or a Gmail account or some type of account with Google. If you have Gmail, you can subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing, but it does help us out, all right? And definitely watch the videos. Subscribing and not watching the videos doesn't do us any good either. You have to watch the videos. So spread the word, subscribe, tell other people, hit the little bell icon because that'll tell you when the new videos come out. I'll talk to you guys next time.